Hey, my handsome ladies and gentlemen, this is Shmeaty. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome if you are new. If you guys saw my recent Rank 1 in the World video team featuring our good friend of the channel, Potato, he's actually the inventor of the team that you see on your screen now. He recommended me to run MANTINE, double Fairy Steel with Astonish, and I couldn't really question him because it sounded sound enough to me. With all that being said, let's go ahead and get right into the matches. Also in future videos, I won't be running Clef-Key, it's quite inaccessible. But let's go ahead and get right into game number 1. It's going to be MANTINE leading into Tentacruel. Tentacruel is pretty fine for us to see here. We can safe switch immediately into the Clef-Key, as of course MANTINE would be probably better used elsewhere. They're going to stay in, continue to poison jab away, and they just made a potential Scald here, but only a Scald. I know that a Scald won't KO, so I'm gonna let it through, and now they get the debuff and bring in Lantern. That is terrible news for me. I'm going for the foul play onto the Lantern, as I don't have any harder hitting energy here, and foul play connects onto the Lantern for absolute minimal damage, and we're going to be able to make one further foul play here. We did bait out the Lantern, which is pretty nice for MANTINE, and now we are forced to bring in Mawile. We get the aggressive pivot. They're going to fire off a move here. And realistically, I think I should always shield here, but I decided to no-shield the Surf. Getting quite ballsy with these plays, firing off a power-up punch onto the Lantern, but this won't be enough to KO. Lantern lives on like 1 HP, makes one further move, and now we'll be able to fire off a Surf and grab our shield. We unfortunately have to put up the first shield. They will bring in a Tropius. This is actually pretty nice. It's pretty nice to an extent, because unfortunately this does mean that Mawile is going to get farmed down here, not able to make a second move there, and it is all on the MANTINE to clutch up in a truly massive way. We're going to be able to get a wing attack through. One turn bring-in is so prevalent, I was pretty positive I was going to get it there and just immediately lose. They land the Leaf Blade, we're able to throw one and catch the next Leaf Blade onto the Clef-Key. So we're still in this game. Unfortunately, however, my opponent still has a shield intact, and they have a Tropius which is eating away at my health bar with these air slashes. I'm going to put up a shield here, as we now know that the Tentacruel is on Scald, and they're not going to be able to make a Sludge Wave if we have anything to say about it. We're going to fire off Aerial Ace number 1, but the Tentacruel is going to be able to put up the shield. Aerial Ace number 2 is going to do some significant damage, but not significant enough, as Tentacruel shakes off the damage, able to make that Scald, and we were talking about that Scald, we were talking mess about that Scald a moment ago, but it puts me in 2 poison jab down range, and that's a GG. Getting into the next game, it's going to be MANTINE now leading into Clef-Key. Very interesting lead. I am going to immediately safe switch into my own Clef-Key here, and they are going to fire off 4 Astonishes and switch into their Amongus. Their Amongus is only going to fire off the foul play. They're fine with getting this minimal amount of damage onto the Clef-Key if it means that they're going to be able to Astonish me down and leave with energy. They're going to shield up my foul play. I'm looking to make a last second flash cannon, and I will force either both shields or switch from this Amongus. Amongus is going to no-shield the flash cannon, and now switch advantage is ours. We probably opt to bring in the Mawile here. Mawile with a shield advantage is going to be very nice for us here. What's not very nice for us is one turn bring in. Oh my goodness. You just gotta love it. Yeah, what can you do, man? In the back, it's going to be a cack turn, and it is no longer a cack turn. This is a keck turn, as we are going to keck W, farm all the way down. Trailblaze and Sucker Punch combo going to do quite a bit of damage, but we're going to be able to either force the last shield or get the KO of the cack turn with this Aerial Ace. They decide to no shield. In comes the Clef-Key once again, and now they have a decision to make. Am I baiting with the power-up punch, or am I sending the Iron Head is the question. They think I'm sending the Iron Head, and they correctly call that. Now it's all up to this. Is Mawile going to be able to outpace the Clef-Key? Come on, we are very close. Ooh, this is getting even closer now. Mawile quite low. Foul play, not enough to KO. We make a last second power-up punch. Power-up punch, low base damage. Isn't enough to KO. Yes, it is. GG's to this trainer. Getting into the next match, it's going to be yet another Tentacruel lead onto our MANTINE. Again, this is just going to be a quick and easy safe switch into the Clef-Key. Clef-Key going to be having more than a fun time, as we're going to be able to fire off a foul play, and we're resisting the poison jab fast move pressure, and that puts us in a pretty nice spot. Tentacruel now already down to about 50% HP. What is it they decide to throw here? Whatever it is, we're going to no-shield it. It's a Scald, and they don't get the debuff this time, and they're going to switch into a Tropius now. Tropius, realizing that it doesn't have a whole lot of play into the MANTINE, is going to play into the losing CMP tie. We're only able to get off a foul play there, but this foul play chip is impactful, as we're going to now be able to bring in the Mawile. This, not the idea that I was originally having, but I'm okay with bringing in the Mawile here. We're going to shield up a Leaf Blade, as Mawile, if it no-shields any move, is probably going to be in the hospital the next morning. And now I'm going to be firing off a move here, but it is not going to be a power-up punch. What's the response from the opposing Tropius? They let it go, knowing that if I sent a power-up punch there, it was not going to be enough to KO, and they did have the move. Firing off a power-up punch at the incoming Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn taking quite a little bit of damage there, and now we're going to be able to make a catch onto our Klefki of the Power Whip. They do have to go for a full undercharge here, and now they undercharged it perfectly, and we're not able to make a foul play. Unfortunate for me, but now we're going to bring in the MANTINE. And the reason we bring in MANTINE here is because it has more play into the Ferrothorn than it does into the Tentacruel. So we just want to be able to land an Aerial Ace here or grab the final shield from the Ferrothorn. Either one will be fine by us. Aerial Ace grabs the shield from the Ferrothorn. That's quite a surprise for me. I'm going to be able to make a further Aerial Ace onto the Tentacruel, and this is nice. This damage is pretty impactful, as we're going to be able to bring in our Mawile and force them to throw energy at the MANTINE. I believe MANTINE is also outside of Scald range here. I suppose we'll see here. Yep, we live on 1 HP, and we get the Astonish down onto the Tentacruel. Oh man, Ferrothorn has not seen a worse day recently, as Power-Up Punch is going to grab the final shield, and now we are 2 off of the next Power-Up Punch. The opponent just top lefts at the sight of that fact. GG's to this trainer. Not the best lead in the next game either, as MANTINE leads into a Dugong. Dugong, not the most comfortable Pokemon for us to see, but we are going to be able to make up the one turn differential by switching into the Klefki and firing off the foul play immediately. They are going to fire off a move here, and oftentimes I'll find myself getting Drill Ran when I want a no-shield, because obviously it's a Dugong. All they ever do is send the Icy Wind. But this trainer, and in this cup specifically, actually clicks on the ground-type move, and that has been quite a surprise for me. I've been getting shell-shocked by that. Nevertheless, in comes a Superior onto the Klefki. Klefki not going to be able to hang on here, but did get some impactful damage with, of course, the foul play and Astonishes. In comes the MANTINE, and MANTINE looking to get ahead on energy up against the Superior. Superior will be able to connect with a Frenzy Plant. That does 50%, so I'm going to click on my Aerial Ace button as soon as I can, because Superior would win CMP here, so I got to be very careful. We are looking to instantly pivot out into the Mawile here, but decide against it. Now we're going to wait to see what they decide to bring in. It's going to be that Dugong, and now I'm looking to tank a move here and probably switch into the Mawile, giving it a shield advantage. Probably the best play I can make here. Icy Wind connects, and now in comes Mawile. If they decide to go for another Icy Wind here, that's fine. What's not so fine is that we did get the 1-turn switch there, so we're not able to CMP tie with the Power-Up Punch like we may have wanted to. In comes the Tropius. We're going to look to boost back up our attack stat, fire off a Power-Up Punch, which does get no-shielded. Speaking of firing off a Power-Up Punch here, we could decide to do that, or we could decide to full send the Iron Head. What's the decision from the opposing trainer? They call the bait, and that is a massive amount of damage onto the Tropius. They're going to fire off a move here, knowing I have to live 1. I decide to no-shield, bring in the MANTINE with the Aerial Ace loaded. We're going to be able to either grab a shield or a KO onto that Tropius, and now this is getting pretty tough, but Mawile does have a shield here. We have to count very closely, manage our energy very well, and we might be able to escape with a win here. In comes the Dugong. Dugong is going to get Power-Up Punched here. Is this going to be enough? I don't believe so. Dugong is pretty bulky. Dugong gets KO'd by the Power-Up Punch. We make one last-second Power-Up Punch. Mawile would not have lived that next Air Slash. That's going to be a GG. Well played to this trainer. In the next match, MANTINE leads into a G-Zing. Not the most comfortable lead, man. Why was I even leading MANTINE, dude? Anyway, we are going to be able to switch into our Klefki as they are going to fire off their Rock Tomb immediately. That is very good news for us, as we're going to be able to get a little bit of energy onto our Klefki. We're not going to throw any energy just yet because the Flash Cannon has yet to be reached. We want to ideally build up to the big move before throwing the big move. That's like Pokemon Go 101. Gonna fire off a foul play here. They may very well no shield, or they may shield here. It's about a 50-50. They opt to shield it up. This is actually pretty nice for us. I'm not going to get KO'd by this next move, and I have a Flash Cannon here, so Cradyly's going to have to go down 2 shields for switch advantage here. And I think that Bullet Seed that just snuck may have actually done it and KO'd me. That'd actually be preferable. Unfortunately, I'm quite off there. They get like 2 or 3 more, so not the best for me, but that's actually not the worst. We're going to bring in the Mantine, look to no shield, bank a little bit of energy onto our Mantine, and fire off the Water Pulse before they're able to make their next Rock Tomb. Now, I don't think this quite KOs, so we bring in the Mawile for the 1 Astonish head start, and Mawile now has a 2-0 shield advantage. In comes the Jeezing, looking to potentially make a catch, so I am going to throw in an additional Astonish when I initially get that Iron Head. I wait the turn. It actually works this time. You love to see it. Oftentimes, this game is super inconsistent and waiting a turn just doesn't work. So I'm glad to see that it did there. And now we are just going to pup and Astonish our way through this poor Ferrothorn like an absolute degenerate that we are. Power-Up Punch does massive damage now onto the Ferrothorn, and I can throw 2 more Astonishes and another one. Actually, they went straight for the Flash Cannon. Getting that shielded up will be the nail in the coffin. GG's to this trainer. Mantine finally able to do something with the lead. We are going to lead Mantine into Tropius. Tropius immediate switch into Barbaracle. Barbaracle, of course, on Mud Slap. Cross Chop and Grass Knot usually in this cup. I mistime my Water Pulse here and unfortunately throw on Alignment, giving them a free Mud Shot for free. That's 10 free energy, not the best decision I've ever made. And now I'm going to bring in my Klefki, looking for an Astonish down. They're going to be able to make 2 Cross Chops here, but if my math is correct, I'm reading this as a situation where I'm not going to get farmed down. I'm going to be able to farm them down first. Indeed, I am. Unfortunately, I don't leave with a Flash Cannon. This is only going to be enough for the foul play. I decide to send it anyway, and they let it go. In comes the Mantine, and here I make a critical error. I was not reading this team composition properly, so I'm going to be able to fire off an Aerial Ace and land some nice damage onto this Tropius, but they are going to now retaliate with a move that I don't really want to shield, because Mawile is not good if it doesn't have a shield advantage. I decide to bring in the Mawile because if it's something like this Gastrodon that now appears on our screen, you hate to see it when Gastrodon enters the group chat. Nevertheless, if it's something like this, I don't really have a lot of play unless I bait it out. So I did successfully bait it out. Unfortunately though, our Mantine is now so low since we no-shielded the move from the Tropius that we're going to be forced to shield up Body Slams, which is of course the much less impactful move, but we are so low that if we decide to no-shield anything here, we're probably even going to get Mud Slap down. Yeah, this is not looking too hot for our boy Mantine. Going to be able to put up a shield here, but this is all for naught, as they have energy loaded on their Tropius, but they don't even need to bring that Pokemon in. I'm going for the Aerial Ace here. Aerial Ace will pick up the KO. And now, we're just going to hit that top left button, GG's. Getting into the next game, it's going to be now Mantine leading into Amongus. Hey, look at that. Lead luck changing around for us just a little bit. Amongus, not going to have the most comfortable matchup here. I'm going to overfarm, fire off my Aerial Ace on 7 to make sure that I'm not throwing on Alignment and giving this Amongus free Astonishes. They're going to under-tap their move and give me a free Wing Attack. Love to see it. I'm going to no-shield whatever this is, and it is going to be the hardest hitting Grass Knot. That is the hardest hitting move they can throw in that scenario. I'm going to overfarm to the potential CMP tie and fire off an Aerial Ace onto the Amongus, looking to either grab the last shield or get the KO on the Amongus. In comes a Jellicent. I'm switching out immediately into Klefki. Klefki going to have an energy advantage now going into this Golisopod matchup, and I'm okay with that fact. I'm going to fire off a foul play. It's pretty uncomfortable for the Golisopod to no shield there, not knowing if I have play rough or not. I'd say it's about 50-50. I'd lean more towards that more Klefkis are on the foul play Flash Cannon moveset like mine is. But we're going to be able to fire off another foul play here. They know this is just a foul play, but I kind of need this damage on them anyway, so no shielding there is fine by me. Speaking of no shielding, Klefki can now no shield this Aqua Jet and look to try to make a further move. We realize we're probably not going to get there, so we switch into the Mawile. Jellicent left with 4 residual hexes, but that's not enough for a Shadow Ball. It's just going to be a Surf, which is not going to be enough to KO. And now Mawile is looking to astonish its way through this Jellicent and the rest of the team. Peak degeneracy in the Spring Cup, you love to see it. I could have potentially threw this power-up punch here, but I kind of don't have to. I can just shield up this move. The Jellicent is now going to get KO'd by that Astonish as they've doubled up. And now we are going to fully commit to zero charging this power-up punch for maximum BM. And then they decide to stop tapping their screen because they hadn't realized I was BMing them. GG's to this trainer. In the next match, this is a worst-case scenario lead. It's going to be Mantine leading into Empoleon. Empoleon is on Steel Wing. Steel Wing charges slower, but hits pretty hard. And I used to love Steel Wing. Shadow Empoleon, that was my boy before they nerfed Steel Wing. Man, Skarmory is my top op because of that. Nevertheless, they're going to fire off a Hydro Cannon, and I have to shield it up. Klefki would get demolished by that move. And now, I think I have to commit 2 shields to maintain alignment here, which is not good at all. I am down 2 shields, but Klefki is not out of options as we are going to have 100 energy now going into this next matchup versus the Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn is going to no-shield foul play number 1, but we're going to be able to make foul play number 2 quite swiftly. They can opt to overfarm by 1 here and fire off a move that would KO, but they actually continue to farm up. This Ferrothorn is trying to have all the energy in the observable universe. They shield up my foul play, and that's about everything I can ask for from this set of car keys. I'm going to let this go. Not that I don't really have a chance, I don't have any shields remaining, but I'm going to act like that was me deciding to let that go for some reason. They power whip my Mantine, not the worst case scenario. I'm going to be able to make an Aerial Ace and force either the final shield or a KO onto the Mantine. Onto the Ferrothorn. Where am I today? Hello? Anyway, in comes a Cradily, and Cradily is going to be able to hit the Mawile here with a Rock Tomb, but Rock Tomb is not the play, and they are about to learn why Rock Tomb is not the play, because I just commit to my Iron Head button. Iron Head gonna be shielded by the Cradily, but that's okay, because they decided to Rock Tomb earlier. Grass Knot does more damage, but I'm outside of Grass Knot range because they decided to go for that initial Rock Tomb. And now Iron Head KOs their Cradily. GG's to this trainer. We've made it to the final game of the video. Mantine leads into Cacturn. What an amazing lead for me. And the Cacturn safe switches immediately into a Dugong. I return with my Astonish Klefki here. They're going to fire off a move onto my Klefki. I'm going to no-shield it. And this one is actually an average Dugong player from the Open Great League. You don't see very many of these in the Spring Cup. They actually like to throw the drill run in this cup for some reason, but I'm going to be able to now fire off this foul play, and they're going to be able to retaliate with a move of their own. I'm going to no-shield this one as well. It's a drill run, nearly KOs, but not quite, and I have another foul play with this Dugong's name on it. This is getting pretty awkward for me, though. I'm going to bring in the Mawile. Pray that I don't get one-turn bring-in, as one-turn bring-in is an absolute nightmare. And there it is again. I got to give up a shield here where I wouldn't have to have gone down a shield otherwise. I am able to get 2 Astonishes because they go for the Icy Wind yet again. So that energy lead is actually going to prove to be pretty impactful. In comes the Gastrodon, but Gastrodon can't switch out here. It is stuck staying in this matchup, because it can't switch out into the Cacturn. Cacturn is having a terrible day, going for an Aerial Ace bait. Gastrodon stuck in this truly terrible matchup for it. Aerial Ace is going to be no-shielded by the Gastrodon. That's not a problem, though. I can no-shield their next move as well. It's going to be a further Body Slam. Body Slam not doing enough damage. In comes the Cacturn. Cacturn getting shredded. We make the back-to-back Aerial Aces, and this is a problem for the incoming Cacturn, as we're going to be able to make this Aerial Ace force a shield with the next power-up punch. And I believe Cacturn will win this CMP tie here. Oh, they no-shield. That is absolutely abysmal for me. I think I'm going to no-shield, and they go for the Trailblaze. That is 1 Astonish range. In comes the Gastrodon, but I've got the Iron Head loaded. Iron Head will force a shield as I am now boosted on the Mawile. Clutch Mawile IVs. We're able to make a last second Water Pulse, and this Water Pulse from this range will KO the Gastrodon. GG's to this trainer. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. And would I recommend this team? I believe so. I think this is a pretty strong team. Klefki is a little inaccessible, so for future Spring Cup videos, I'm going to attempt to remain away from the Klefkiing. But with that being said, I think this is a pretty strong team. I was able to climb about 100 elo after losing 100 elo in an experiment that we'll see in a future video that's coming up soon. But with all that being said, thanks once again so much for watching. I've been Shmeaty. I hope to see you all again next time. And have a good rest of your day. Bye.